I got to this last final interview, and like when I tell you, like I had 4 interviews, a day of like 8 interviews in a row, and everybody was like, "You're amazing, you're great, we love you for this position." And I got the no from them, but I got the no from them with like 2 whole pages of like, "We really liked you.
Yeah,
we really, really, really liked you, but you were missing this one thing." And I sat there and I was like, that probably was more, it was very heartbreaking because like we were about to move to a whole different place.
Yeah.
It's like,
welcome back to another episode of Keeping It a Bean. Keeping It a Bean is a podcast that brings together conversation and culture all over coffee. But y'all already know what the deal is. In tonight's case, some tea. Okay.
yes.
We got coffee in the background. We out here. Shout out to Evermore. Okay. Yeah, so you already know, if you are new here, my name is Marquise Davon, Keese, this American Negro, but please never call me Mark. Don't forget. Okay. However, if you are returning, hello to niggas and niggas only. You already know what the vibes are as soon as we do this. Oh, man. If you want to support this here podcast, you can do so in one of 2 ways. You can support me monetarily. So you can go to patreon.com/marquisedavon. That's MarquiseDavon. There you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $2 a month, which is $24 a year. And honestly, for some of y'all that ain't even using your Planet Fitness, it's only been 3 weeks. For me. Okay. This is a great investment into this Black content creator as well. So please make sure you invest there. You can get some unedited episodes, but then also some exclusive announcements and whatnot. And we have a lot coming through in January. Y'all gonna be getting filled with some events, but then also some new stuff really coming in this year. I really wanted to make sure I'm like really investing in making sure that y'all are getting that little bit more of an exclusive experience. So I appreciate y'all. However, I know there are different ways. So if you're like, hey, I just want to send you $10 on Cash App, you can do so. It's Marquise Davon, same thing across the board. It's all going to be in the description box. And if you want me to speak at any event or be a panelist or moderate, you can also make sure to hire me because guess what? I have a website now. So you can make sure to also go to marquisedavon.com. And there you can check out everything that I have done, talked around, get all the podcast episodes, blog and startup and everything. I'm trying to like take this content creator thing serious. And I said, I don't got an EPK, but I'm gonna make a website. And now it's here. Okay. However, I understand there's economic anxiety. A lot of us are just like, I don't know if I'll have a job in a couple of months. So we out here. So you can support me in non-monetary ways. So obviously, if you're looking at these 2 very lovely faces on this camera, that means you are watching us at 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
10 a.m.?
Okay. Yeah, you got to get your coffee to keep it a bean.
That's
Keys.
right.
You know, it can be some background noise. You feel me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, out here. But that means that you are watching on YouTube whenever you're deciding to watch this episode. And there you can make sure that you are going to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment, and please engage with other people within the community. Y'all have really, really been running up some of these episodes. And so I really appreciate it. And I ain't gonna hold that last episode I did on my own, that ran up over 1,000 views already. The other one got over 5,000 views. I said, all right, we running it up ever so slightly. Okay. We are learning. So y'all are watching and y'all are adapting. So I really appreciate that space too. But remember, tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, because I still believe that word of mouth is the strongest form of marketing. Please make sure if you see a clip go out online, make sure that you are liking and you are sharing to your stories. You are also, Twitter don't exist anymore. We don't believe in that anymore.
Hallelujah.
Okay.
Hallelujah.
It's a different world now. So you can go over to Blue Sky is what people call it. I read it in my mind as Blue Ski. Do you not read it as Blue Ski?
It sounds bluey for me.
You know what I'm saying? I've been reading Blue Ski. I said it's Blue Ski. So we out here. Someone said I don't want to be racial, but you saying it? I said don't worry. I said because you might be onto something. But you can go to Marquise Davon as well to go check out all my stuff there. Please use the hashtag KIAB to keep up with the conversation there. I'll make sure to check in on that hashtag. Make sure to give you a shout out. But last but not least, one of the best non-monetary ways you can support any podcaster is if you are listening and I am your Monday morning drive. Please make sure that you leave a rate and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. This helps us show up in the algorithm even more. It is also a great opportunity for you to see how different people feel about the show. But this also means when they're just like, hey, there's some other podcasts like Disruptors in the podcast that you might also like to listen to, this is how you are also able to support us podcasters here. So I appreciate y'all. Woo. There we go.
That was solid.
Thank you. I'll be trying.
That was super solid. Especially off the top of the brain.
That's what
I'll be reading the script, so that's impressive.
I'm saying. I said I've been potting. It'll be 8 years in December. It's crazy to think about. But running this one consistently has only been for a year, which is crazy. Yeah, Keeping It a Bean officially started in July.
This is version 2.0.
Huh? That's very funny.
He just turned 30 this year, so you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Who?
It's crazy that things like that happen.
Who turned 30?
It wasn't 30.
Oh, he's 29.
Oh, it was 29. I'm sorry.
Thank you. 29.
I be getting the ages confused. You know what I'm saying?
To me,
it's not that crazy.
I sign your check. And you mind your business.
Don't let me get y'all in trouble. Don't let me do that.
He said no diabolical. I try to
It's
use
the
that.
same thing.
She's
29, 30. It's the same.
29 and 30 are not the same. I'm in a transitional year. You're 30. Okay. This is what I've been talking about. It be your own people, I swear to God. Okay, anyway, so clearly you already know this episode is not a solo episode. We are back to our regular format. And y'all, we are in for a fucking treat this episode. I am here with my good brother, filmmaker, podcaster, multi-hyphenate, entrepreneur, mentor, father, brother. What else?
Everything, son. Okay. All that, man. All that, honestly.
Josh.
Yeah.
Meekz.
What's up?
Welcome to the show, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate
feeling?
it. I'm good. I'm real good. This is like surreal. A little surreal, you know what I'm
Why you
saying?
say that?
I don't really talk on podcasts too much, other than my own, which is crazy to say. But I mean, like,
I don't care. All right, y'all. So y'all might have heard it in a little bit of the beginning, but like I really, in my mind, Josh is really that nigga to me. Like, I see him and I'm just like, dog you did a series, you did a film.
They do a film.
Like, in my mind, like you are on the Roots picnic stage, all of that. So like, I'm like, you are like incrementally just doing all the things that I think are so dope. But I also like
things that checks on resumes. You're right.
That's what I'm saying. I said, all right, if he got there, my goal is to get to the Roots picnic next year. Stop playing with him, okay? We belong on the stage.
Keeping it a bean.
Keeping it a bean. All right. But dog, no, like truly and honestly, I'm excited to just like talk to you because there's so much that I get to like admire simply from a distance. But also, I take notes from you a lot of the time too.
Wow. I don't even know for real.
But in all honesty, like you're a creative that I find myself, I really respect, but you're also like super intentional. But you're also not the type to like gatekeep everything either.
Absolutely not.
You are a sharer of knowledge and you are a wealth of knowledge. And you are also super transparent, which I'm excited to like really get into for this episode around like you becoming even more transparent on your journey.
Yeah.
Even like letting that out publicly on your podcast around
100%.
like where you and Amira were at. So I'm excited to kind of like talk around that and like where do you go from here type situation. But before we get into any of that,
okay,
the way we got to kick off the show is the Keeping It a Bean segment. So the Keeping It a Bean segment, you keep it 100. This is your hot take, your most authentic take, whatever is on your spirit, personal, political, pop culture, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
What does Josh need to keep it a bean about today?
So I had one. I told you before. We were gonna film an episode another time before the election. Had a crazy hot take. I was like, I got this.
Right.
So I was driving here, and I was like, I gotta think of a hot take because I'm familiar with the show. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I think my hot take is, as Black men, we are great. We are beautiful people, but we need to be more accountable to ourselves.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm coming a little spicy. I've had to look in the mirror a few times, but I think accountability when it comes to Black men, just because I think we have the luxury and the privilege to, sometimes separate from the struggle for like periods of time, and we can't do that because we're needed, like super needed in households and in communities and environments to be leaders and or support systems and resources. And a lot of times we'd be like, man, like we could go do this instead, but nah, we need to be present, you know what I'm saying? And just be accountable for our actions. I think relationships and friendships, just really being accountable, like, hey, I didn't show up or I didn't do this. And I'm going to be intentional about, showing up in those relationships or reaching out to friends and things like that. So just niggas need to be more accountable.
No, that's valid though. I appreciate that. I said, oh, now niggas want to be loud. But in reality, like even talking from like a friendship type time too, like I had to kind of take one on the chin today. Because one of my friends were just like, Marquise, I feel like every time I call you, you are like busy, and it keeps happening. I feel like I just haven't heard from you, this, that, and the third. And I like joke about it, and I'm just like, oh no. But I had to like really realize, I was like, oh no, you actually need me to show up. This isn't like a moment to like joke. But not only that, I had to do the thing where I'm like not jumping to be like, well, this is what's been going. Like, no, this is how this person has been feeling, and being able to sit there and own it. And for me, it's like always interesting because on my back end, I'm like, I had to, in these last couple of months, has been like the busiest I've ever been in terms of like content creation. So I'm just
hallelujah.
Like, okay, and I'm appreciative,
need that.
right? And I also recognize like in that era, in that space of like being really busy, I'm like, okay, I'm getting this check for here. They're asking me to be here. I'm going to speak on this panel. I'm going to do this. Friendship took a back seat a lot of time. And I try my best to show up as much as possible, but I realize I just cannot stretch myself that thin. And when I don't have it, I don't know how to communicate when I don't have it sometimes. I'm learning to get better about it, but I had realized it today when my friend had made the comment, and I was just like, you're right. Let me actually like give you a call and like actually like apologize and all of that stuff too. Excuse me. But I appreciate that because I've been thinking around like the balance of we need to make sure we're holding ourselves accountable. And I think my question for you too is like, do you also have that space to not have to be the provider, not have to be like this person who's always showing up to support and stuff? Do you have moments of time where you get to be like, be soft and like chill back a little bit? Because I know as men, we're constantly told provide. Yeah. But like, do you also like have that community where you're like, oh, I get to just like be gentle, black man, the way that I be saying. Like you have those moments in time.
I'm gonna just finesse this. Y'all don't mind? Is it cool?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. I'm gonna say I do. And it had to be intentionally created, and I had to intentionally remind myself that I had it.
Yeah.
I think and this goes back to being accountable. I don't think I was complaining that I didn't have it, but I wasn't showing up in that space for it to even be created. I was like, dang. And you know, and I was I wish my wife was here because she would have loved this podcast first and foremost.
Yeah,
she would have been your probably loudest audience member because she's the shit. But she was always like, I would be like, yeah, my friends, da da da. She'd be like, you don't call them, so like, why are you even? Who you mad at for real? Like, you not calling them, and you mad they're not calling you, and you the one who don't even know how to text or call nobody. I was like, I'm gonna go call. I'm gonna go downstairs and make a phone call, and when I come back, we gonna see how I'm feeling. So I did that. So I had to show up in these spaces and be soft. I had to show up and say, hey, I need help. Hey, I'm going through these things, and give my friends the opportunity to show up for me. You know what I'm saying? And they did. They were like, hey, look, what you need, bro? I can help you. Like, I was like, oh, wow, okay. So I do have this space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's so funny because I had that moment for the first time last year.
Yeah.
And it's not like they didn't show up for me. I had space to like, I can cry in front of my friends, X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
But like in a space of extreme vulnerability, like I had just gotten out of a relationship. But I was also in between jobs, and it took my job probably like 3 months to like actually fully hire me. So I'm like in between. On top of that, like my landlord said, yeah, so you need to be out by Christmas. And we said, huh? What?
That's crazy.
You're right. And so I got the extension, but it was just like, oh, I needed to like lean on my friends because then I saved up at least 3 months worth of savings. And I was like, oh, wow, kudos to me for one. Wow. But also it depleted. And I had to like craft the text, and I had to like, I sat there for an hour before I can send it to like my closest of friends and just like, I can't pay my rent. Like, and I need to be honest about that. And so it was a moment like, and I was crying because I said, I feel so bad. I don't want to ask them. Like, this is a lot. And when I told them, they said, thank you for like not suffering in silence. Like, it's better. So my boy was like, 400, I don't even need it back. Hey, here's another 200. Here's another 200. Here's this. Here's this. Here's my partner sending you money too. They were like, Marquise, you don't ask for anything. Yeah. Like, all you do is ask for like quality time and for people to show up. Yeah. That's all. Yep. And so for them to be able to like really show up in that way, like it meant a lot to me. And then even like a friend in between the two houses and stuff, between my move, he let me stay with him for a month.
Wow. That's
like
good.
To me, I'm just like, I didn't realize like
what your community was.
With that, because I'm so like big on like I don't want to be like a nuisance to other people.
Yeah.
And there's like you're not a bother. The fuck, like let us show up.
Yeah,
and
these people are your friends, right?
Quite literally. And so they were just like, they reminded me that it's okay, and I don't need to wait until like the very last minute or the most like crucial of times to like ask for help. Like there might just be those moments where I'm like, hey, I just need space. Hey, I just need this, or can I get this, or can we just have some time to like be intentional with our space together and shit like that. So you're saying that, and I'm saying that, I'm just like, dog, like
right.
Allowing people to show up for you is very different than like people just hopping into action. They're gonna show up, but like for you to say I need you, and for them to then meet you, it hits different.
100% hits different.
Do you think that this happened because of like? Do you think when you were younger, let's say like middle school, it's always been hard for you to ask for help? Do you think it was like a thing that happened because of family? Do you think it was a thing that happened because you guys are men? Like, why do you think this is?
I can 100% attest to mine is like upbringing and like how I was raised, and then the positions that I had to hold as a child. So like me asking for help, I mean, to this day, like it's still a hard thing to do. Like I'm very much Mr. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure it out. What's the YouTube? What's the TikTok? I'm gonna figure it out. You know, that's just me. You know,
because I'm such a 3 before me ass nigga. Exactly. Like, I'm gonna ask 3 questions before I ask somebody else.
Exactly. So I think that for me, it's very pivotal in that. But I mean, I think that is just subject to the generation my parents was raised in. You know what I'm saying? They're just passing down what they know. So, you know, that's the mentality I adapted. And I think the thing that has broken me out of that is having a child and reflecting on all those things and being like, you not going to do what I just did. Yeah. So how am I going to now look in the mirror, accountability, work on myself, because this person's watching me my whole life. Yeah. So if they don't see me asking for help or going to my community, how is she ever going to feel safe going to her? I mean, her mom does it easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be nice if her dad did it too. You know what I'm saying? It'd be nice.
But thank you for sharing that, for real. Yeah, because that, similar for me, I feel like I always had to be the responsible child. I was always like, if you would have met me when I was younger, like quieter, but super compliant. I was not a rule breaker. I was just like, I need to be as good as possible and not have to be like a burden. So like for me, I was just like, I watched my mom, like a single parent with 5 kids. Like, I'm like, all right, so let me get a job. So I'm like not a bill for her anymore. So I like by 16, I'm like, I'm getting a job. So like she doesn't have to take care of me the ways in which she may have to take care of my other siblings and stuff like that. I took myself through college, all of it. Like I was just like, so I just need to like be able to make sure I'm okay. And so part of it also was like control issues. Like I was just like, it didn't feel like a stable childhood. I was in a home of love and stuff like that, but I felt like I had to really take care of myself in a very different kind of way. And so I grew up much faster than I needed to, in full transparency.
How did you start working on that? Like what was did you ever have a moment that was kind of like, this is a problem, I'm acknowledging it's a problem, and then how did you actively make steps to kind of heal yourself, I guess you want to say in that way? Like heal yourself. Yeah, okay. Right. Yep.
No, but also like I was exhausting myself. Like I couldn't, like anytime like I realized I got super anxious or like would like put so much pressure on myself to like get straight A's, make sure I never drop out. I want to take a gap semester in college so bad because I was like, so much is happening. Oh yeah. But like I was like, no, I can't be a failure in like my community. I can't go home and like not do this. I'm the only one of my siblings to go to a 4-year college. And I'm like, I got to be an example. So I put so much pressure on myself and realized I was like, work. And I didn't celebrate me graduating from college. I didn't celebrate me graduating from high school. I got out of college and immediately got a job. And I realized I was never smelling my roses. And so talking in therapy, my therapist was like, Marquise, you have an unhealthy relationship to control. And so my big thing has consistently been like, how do I reframe what served me for survival as a kid was knowing what was coming next, because everything felt so unstable. Wow. Okay. But now I'm like, oh, control does not serve me in the way that it used to. I don't need to determine outcomes. I don't need to manipulate a situation to come out the way I needed to. Yeah. And so for me, it really had to be like, what did control do for me as a kid? Yeah. Does it serve me now? Yeah. And it doesn't. So these last 3 years have just been like, whatever happens is going to happen. and I just need to be okay with it. And so even thinking around like how things should be, I always said this is how it should be. This is what it should be. I'm like, no, how is it?
Yeah,
and it's a very different like framing of like
It's
having a
reality.
word of expectation and like being present in like who I am.
Yeah.
So
Accountability.
How is
it really? What is really happening right now? Not what I want to happen, but
Yeah.
what's really happening. Yeah, I struggle with a lot of similar things. So I understand.
we here.
100%.
Facts. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, that was a good question. Questions from the audience? I was like, my gosh. I wasn't prepared for all of this. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, if I'm gonna keep it a bean on another note, I'm keeping it a bean. Stop treating Thanksgiving like a middle child.
What? No, explain that, because Thanksgiving absolutely is a middle child. Let's keep it a stack.
Okay,
please
but they
explain.
don't have to like make it feel the way that they do.
How do they make it feel?
Because Thanksgiving don't get as much hoorah. Like there's no Thanksgiving songs. People be ready to already just put their Christmas trees up before Thanksgiving. And I'm like, put that tree up after Thanksgiving.
So what is Thanksgiving to you?
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday in the world. And it's more so like Friendsgiving, not the genocide
Okay.
part.
I'm going to say
I love
not
the
the
genocide.
genocide. Keith, break down to me the
Problematic phase, yeah.
That's
not
funny.
the genocide part.
That's funny.
However, no, like me and my friends always like growing up, like my friends were like a lot of my like foundational pieces. And Christmas, I didn't always have a good relationship with Christmas because I'm like, I watch my mom work extra shifts and she's struggling to make sure that we have all of this. So I was like, Christmas, Halloween. I said, I was a ninja for like 8 years in a row. It's the cheapest hood costume you can get in a life. It's the easiest costume in the world.
I have a really funny story about Halloween, and we'll continue.
But Halloween is the baby. It's the youngest child. It gets all the attention. It's really fun. Everybody gets to like get you whoop whoop whoop. Their main character syndromes kick in. Christmas is the eldest child, so it's the first. It's the golden child. They can do whatever they want. This, that, and the third. Everybody brings gifts.
Yeah.
Okay, you get gifts and food.
Yeah.
And then Thanksgiving is the day of like quality time. Like I like Friendsgiving.
Okay.
And so you're out here and around with the people. Like me and my friends would do Friendsgiving. So it's like 20 of us each of us made a dish. We would all get together. We would talk around the things we're grateful for, how we appreciated each other, X, Y, and Z. But it was just a time of like fellowship and joy, and we just got to eat together and break bread together. So I felt like it was a much more, for me growing up, an intentional holiday to just reset with friends.
100%.
And so like for me, I was like, I don't have to worry about bringing gifts. All I have to do is like bring myself, bring who I am, check in with my people, and just have an intentional meal with each other.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, it does not cost too much for Thanksgiving. It does not need anything. All you need to do is be around people. And like I would also go do service in the morning and stuff like that. And so for me, it was my day to truly like give back, but also like check in.
So it's truly about love.
It is quite literally just fully about love. And so like, that's why I'm like, Friendsgivings is like my favorite thing in the world. Cause I'm just like, people can just get dressed up in their nice sweaters and people can be comfortable. You don't have to, you can wear sweatpants. And it's the holiday.
Don't want a cardigan if you want.
Whatever you want to do. But for me, it's the holiday with the least amount of expectations, but the most amount of joy and love.
I like that. I ain't gonna hold you. All right.
Yeah.
Talk on the B mic, cause why you be chatting off camera?
I feel like that too, because Christmas, like your parents be tired from wrapping your gifts and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You open your gifts up, and when you was little, you ain't really understand. You like, why you look so tired? Because they was working at
Like, man, me and Santa we had to get the shift together. Are you drunk?
What are you talking about?
Santa was drinking.
And I feel like as much people don't come over when it's Thanksgiving, like, no, I mean Christmas. Like during Christmas, you don't see family like that. But when it's Thanksgiving, you see everybody. You see everybody.
Yeah,
that's a fact. Everybody gotta get a plate. You feel me?
Okay,
that's true. I feel that. I like that though.
Yeah. So Halloween.
Tell us about Halloween.
Oh, okay. Me and Halloween have a real like tumultuous relationship for a while. So my mom was a great artist in her brain and in my brain at the time. But she used to make all my costumes until I got to 5th grade. And here's where the story begins. So it's 5th grade. I'm a new student at a new public school for the first time. I went to a bunch of schools. My first time at like a true public school in the hood.
He was in the hood.
It's the truth. I did not bouncing around. That's where I ended up. So I was like, my mom was like, what do you want to be for Halloween? I was like, I want to be Spike from the X-Men Evolution. I don't ever watch X-Men Evolution. There's a black character, Spike. Yeah, he had the spikes on his body.
Yeah.
My man had blonde hair. My mom was like, so my mom made my costume, and the costume was baggy, you know, had the X in the symbol. I was super proud of it because my mom made it. I'm gonna wear it. Okay. And then she was like, yeah. So I was like, my hair's got to be blonde. She was like, well, I'm not bleaching your hair, but I will put the dye in it. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. Hair turns out green, like fluorescent. I guess because you don't have the bleach, so your hair can't take in the dye the way it's supposed to. So my hair was just fluorescent green. So I was like, I'm going into school. I'm doing this. Walk in, you know, happy out here. I'm like, oh man, they must be laughing at some kids' costume because they're not laughing at me because my costume fire. And you know, in fifth grade, you do the Halloween parade, bro. I was over here like confidence on 1,000. You know what I'm saying? You ain't talking about me because y'all ain't see the X-Men belt. This baggy sits, you know, FUBU. Like I don't know what to tell you. I was really rocking the joint. I was killing it. Get to the little parade. I'm walking around, whatever. And I can't remember, somebody tapped me on the shoulder or something. It was like, who made your costume? I was like, my mom. And they was like, yeah, she got stopped. And I was like, at that moment, it was like, but I everything in me dropped. But I wasn't ever going to go to my mom and be like, your costume sucked. Kids didn't like it. So then the next year, I got to middle school. Suck. Bro, kids are awful. Kids are terrible. So next year, I got to middle school and Halloween rolls around. I was like, what do you want to be for Halloween this year? I was like, maybe we should buy a costume this year. You know, I'm feeling a little more mature. I feel like I can move on past to the next thing. My mom was like, you sure? I was like, yeah, you know, keep making my brother's costumes. They love it. They love it. They really do like it. But let's buy me a costume this year for Halloween. And she never knew until like I got to an adult and I was like, yeah, they made fun of me real bad. I just couldn't break it to you because you really like doing it.
I didn't take that joke.
Man, but I wish, I think I still have pictures. My hair was so bright green and then like, my costume was just like had shoulder pads. It was just looked real crazy. But you know, you gotta
from X-Men Evolution is fire.
Because I really was like a nerd. Like I still am a nerd. Like
yeah,
that,
I was gonna
like,
say that didn't change. We talk about
yes, right, straight flat out. But I mean, that's my Halloween story. So I don't want to say I was scarred, but it definitely let me know that you know kids don't give a fuck.
It's your character building arc. The reality is because we're gonna get into the fullness of the episode. Okay. But the other hot take is that kids don't know how to be embarrassed anymore. Oh, and so I'm like, y'all don't have ugly middle school years.
Nah.
Y'all don't they can't do things in public now because I'm just like, you haven't built up a tolerance to like people making fun of you 100%. Because when you get made fun of, it's on social media. We got made fun of. It was like you didn't have video to like document anything.
That was a talk of the month because you had to keep talking about it.
And then you like move on to shit, right? Yep. And so I realized I was like, I think if kids can practice getting embarrassed more, they would be a lot less anxious in some capacity.
100%.
But be more willing to take chances on themselves and when they're in comfortable situations. Because I think, because you also were in education, so you see how right.
Yeah.
So you also see like how kids function essentially very differently.
100%.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I think kids witness so much more.
Yeah.
But like for them to actually like participate in real life, there's a gap.
Yeah.
And so it's like an actual like, and I keep like utilizing metaphor, like in theory the kids know. Yeah. Okay, it's like a kid knows how to swim in theory. Like if you learn how to swim by reading a book. But like,
can you do that?
That's the problem.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was actually
that's actually the problem. So you're like, okay, I dive like this. You do this. You learn all the things, but like not ever actually getting into the water.
100%. Yeah.
And that's what I think is what is happening to kids today.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I mean, yes. To your point, I think that we have kids now who are just anxious that somebody's got a camera somewhere that they can't see. You know what I'm saying? So, like, remember how, like, for the longest period of time, I think our first time, like, when social media, I might be aging myself, when Instagram first came out.
We're only a year apart.
If you listen, I still could be aging myself. When Instagram first came out, and people were, like, dunking on each other with the little basketball hoops or whatever like that. And it was like, oh, I got you on camera. But people started moving like, oh, my God, I might get dunked on. It was like, oh, why you, bro, it's relax. It's a joke.
Yeah.
But, like, when you were in, like, middle school or, like, when I was in middle school or, like, even high school, when you would, like, somebody making fun of you, like, you getting Jones on, you getting bid or whatever it's called, like, it was like, okay, but then you built up your tough skin, you got back at him, and that was that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? People weren't living on with the joke, or he called you just look how you reacted. Oh, that's great. Like,
and
it was a moment. Yeah, it was just a moment, and then the moment passed. Yeah. So to your point, like I think not just social media. I just think it's now becoming culture.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part. I wish if social media was just, hey, that's social media, cool. But it's becoming, oh, I saw you on social media, and social media is having real life repercussions. Yeah. As it should. Right. But at the same time, like, it shouldn't be the main, like, meat and potatoes of people's life.
Yeah.
I think it's that, like, snap.
You want me to spin this to you?
Oh, go ahead, listen. He really about to come on the screen, huh?
Yeah, I think it's that little, like, once you get made fun of. I think it's when you get made fun of and then you, like, say something back to them. And I think that's what happens. Because, like, I think there's, like, a divide. Like, they think, oh, I can never talk to this person again. Yeah. Like, after that. Like, after somebody makes fun of you. Or, yeah. And I don't think they never, like, realize, like, okay, we can go back and forth. But most of the time, with most people, it'll only go to a certain point. Yeah. And then at some point, we'll become friends or we'll at least respect each other. Yeah.
Things don't end in hands anymore. It's kind of making me sad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that things. That's
crazy. You're not gonna flip that back.
The comment that I said was, things don't end in hands anymore, and it's kind of making me sad because, like, think about it. You disagree with somebody, it's like, all right, we're gonna fight, and that's it. Like, you beat me up, I beat you up. Okay,
and we're good.
We're good.
Me and my boy Kenny fought, and then we were good the next day. Yeah. You said you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh? Got it.
And you're cool. Now it's like, oh, I'm about to mess about you online for like 6 months, or I'm gonna get this gun. It's like, bro, like,
it's not that deep.
It's not that deep, and you being disrespected and your ego is not. It's not. Yeah. You're not leading with that. It's all right. It's okay.
Right. That's a word.
Listen.
I love where this episode is going. Yeah. I really appreciate it. Oh man, but. Like, even in the midst of all of that, I think there's so much to say around, like, and I loved actually where we started and continue to, like, evolve with this episode. Honestly, like, the first thing around, like, men being held, like, accountable, but also kind of unpacking our own shit in terms of, like, how we got there. Yeah. You know, the holidays, but also the idea around, like, being a man, this idea of masculinity, shame, all of this stuff. And I think there's a point in time where we kind of, like, get our life and we're like, oh, this is an order, this is an order, this is an order, this is an order. Yeah. But then at some point in time, life just throws us a curveball, or it's just like, oh, this is no longer serving me. And you got to completely, like, reorient every piece of, or most foundational pieces of you, right? I mean, not foundational, but there's some things you just got to pivot in life with. Let's say that. Foundational feels dramatic. But something I think around, especially in terms of you, that I really admire is, like, you began to take chances on yourself. And, like, really began to, like, dive into, like, what is this creative side? And I know, like, for a little bit, you were like, yeah, there's a difference of, like, here's corporate, and then what does it mean for you to, like, now you're doing content creation on your own time. Yeah. Right? And now you have clients that you were adhering to. Yeah. But you are also, like, all right, now I got to take this thing a little bit more serious. And so, like, one, what was that moment where you were just like, let's start there. What was that moment in time where you were like, let me just hop into this content creation and take it serious?
I think to even to really unpack that moment, just because I feel like there needs to be a little bit of background, is like, I think I was very much raised in an environment where you only had 3 occupations, which was like a doctor, a lawyer, and or be an athlete. Like, that was it. So, like, to even for me to say, like, hey, I'm a creator, is like, you'd be like, what? If I was talking to me then, I'd be like, yo, you tripping. Like, you really are tripping. Like, you're not gonna make no money, you're gonna be broke. Like, come on, figure it out, bro. Right. So, like, to even get to a point where I'm now like, okay, I'm leaning on this creativity thing, like, I'm full time, is very crazy. And I think the moment that I got to that point, I think it's always been God in the background, like, you gonna do this. I'd be like, nah, I got this to do first. And God's like, you're gonna do this. Yeah. No matter whether you want to do it or not, it's gonna come to a point where you're going to do this. And this might not be the final thing for me, because I still feel like I'm constantly evolving and learning more about myself and what I need to do. But I think this is a pivotal pathway. What was the question?
When was that moment for it to click for you that you're gonna, like, go full time?
When I lost my job, to be honest with you. So I lost my job earlier in the year, and that was a moment where I was really putting all my eggs into the educational bag. I worked in a nonprofit for like 9 years, and I was changing kids' lives, and I was really happy, and it was cool. but I always knew that it wasn't necessarily fulfilling me during that time period. Had done the podcast, did Roots Picnic, shot the feature film, did the web series, had a lot of creative success.
Yeah.
So like that was going great. And I was like, I used to joke that I was like, one day I'm gonna have to get pulled and figure out which one I'm gonna do. And I'd be like, haha, I'll be ready for that when it comes. I was not ready for that when it came. Yeah, my job is like, you're gonna letting you go. It was what it was. Parted ways. But then I have my wife and I have my child looking at me like, so what's next? Yeah. You're the breadwinner right now. My wife currently isn't working. What we gonna do? Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna just, pick myself up and apply some jobs and get it working. You apply to 150 jobs, you get maybe 2 interviews. It's scary.
I was tired of getting all them no's when I was unemployed. I was a substitute teacher, and I just kept hearing no.
And it's like no with no like. We like this about no. I ain't gonna hold you. I had this. I don't want to shout the company out or anything like that, but like I got to this last final interview, and like when I tell you, like I had 4 interviews, a day of like 8 interviews in a row, and everybody was like, "You're amazing. You're great. We love you for this position." And I got the no from them, but I got the no from them with like 2 whole pages of like, we really liked you. Yeah. We really, really, really liked you, but you were missing this one thing. And I sat there and I was like, that probably was more, it was very heartbreaking because like, we were about to move to a whole different place. Yeah. It's like I was, we're gathering our things. Hey, you sure? They were telling me about the reload packages. They had me like ready to go. And I was like, all right. Then I got that no. I was like, something's up. You know what I'm saying? So I really jumped into the creative bag as far as like, doubling down on the podcast, doubling down on myself as a creator and offering digital branding and coaching. And then where that has led me now is to being me, like me being the creator. Mm-hmm. I talk so much about like, Marquise knows. I'd be like, yo, you could really do this and grow. And if you did this and you did that, and he'd be like, yeah, it's a good idea. And I talk to a bunch of different people and I'm like, why am I not implementing this stuff on myself? And I have like a lot to share. Like I am a transparent person. I'm not a gatekeeper. I love putting my friends on. I love talking to people. I love doing that stuff. But the thing that's stopping me from doing that thing that has been stopping me from doing that has been the voice in my head. So when you get to a point where you're not sure how you're going to pay a bill, I've been fucking that voice in my head up. Like, nigga, you gonna have to sit in the sidelines because you making this, you paying a bill voice in my head? No? So I'm gonna have to pay this bill. You know what I'm saying? So like that has been extra motivation for me. But I think I've been running from what God has been telling me that I need to be doing this whole time. So now I'm kind of like, you know what? And I think, and also during this time period, I've had to sit with myself in ways that I've never had to truly do before. Yeah. So like that's also like motivating me as well. So
yeah. And what are like, because I
just gave you a lot. I'm sorry.
No. Don't ever apologize for sharing your story. Because I appreciate like what you were able to like lean into and like even talking around like that voice in the back of your head and like at some point you were just like, all right, if none of this other shit is working out, I'm gonna do what I know I can do 100%. At this point in time. And like you talked about it a little bit, but like there is still a little bit of like, it feels like a little bit of that pressure. You're like, no, I gotta make something shake. Yeah. And so like in all of that, like when you were sitting with yourself and really realizing it, like what is the thing you continue to tell yourself to like, one, negate that voice outside of being like, oh, well, you're not paying these bills. Like, how do when you wake up in the morning, like what do you tell yourself in order to like stay motivated for utilizing your creative? You are using yourself as the way to like create this thing, right? You're not an employee. You're not doing any of that. Yeah. So,
I want to say a lot of prayer, 100%. And then the second thing is, I would say self-motivation. I have to talk myself up a lot in that situation. And the reason why I say that is because it's imposter syndrome. We sat here before and we were like, yo, you got a film, you got your podcast did over 3 mil views, you did Roots Picnic, and now I'm sitting here like questioning myself. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy.
It's wild because I remember when you were talking on Disruptors, you were talking around like you didn't know where to go after Roots Picnic. Like what happens after this? Yeah. And so like to me, I'm just like, oh, there's like this journey of like, this is great, this is great, this is a great plateau. What do we do from here?
100%. That's exact. So like that's specifically on the podcast, and I cannot talk about the podcast without saying Amira Smith is amazing, and she's a great co-host, and she does a lot for the podcast as well. After Roots, we did Dappa, Armani White, which were like really big interviews for us.
That's huge.
And then thank you. And then we plateaued. And what I mean by we plateaued is like life really got the best of us, and neither of us had time for it. Right? There was a certain expectation, and we're people of we meet expectations, and two, we have a very specific brand we're trying to like accomplish. And neither of us were making any money off of it. So like it was like we're pushing so hard and doing this thing and doing all these accolades, and people are still like, we don't see it.
Right.
And that gets very frustrating after a while. It's like we get Cootie Chike and JIV. We're literally on stage with them talking about them. They're co-signing us. We get Armani White. He's co-signing us. He's like, yo, this is great. You know what I'm saying? We have all these people co-signing our content. A lot of the people, so the crazy part is a lot of people that we had in the beginning of the podcast were my friends from high school. Yeah. So like even like Jordan, shout out to Jordan. She was on what is that Bravo show? And that's gonna kill me. Summer House. Thank you. Martha's Vineyard. Yes, Martha's Vineyard. Shout out Jordan. That's my sister. Tayo, who's an amazing photographer who does incredible work. As well as a few others. My friend Aaron, who's a big in the gaming industry. Like these people, like we're all doing favors, but their accolades themselves. And we're talking to these people. It's like we have a lot of standing, we have a lot of credibility, but other people aren't seeing it. And you get really kind of tired after a while of other people not seeing it and believing in your vision, and you not having the funds and ability to push your own vision. So it gets really murky. And I think that's where we're at with the podcast now. We were again super stride, doing super well. Engagement. We just did Kenny Gamble. Yeah, Kenny Gamble doesn't do interviews. We got Kenny Gamble to be on an interview with us talking about his impact in Philadelphia music. That doesn't happen. And we still have people looking at us like, no, we don't see it. Are you serious?
I don't know. That's the thing. I just don't know what it is, right?
You tell me.
I don't know, because that to me is like the interesting piece, because it's like the work and the quality is there. There's 100%. Nothing around it. And I'm 100%. Like, is it the timing? Yeah. Is it just like are we not in front of the right people? Like, what is that moment? Because it's like, I remember talking to one of my friends, and we're like, Marquise, I think you just need like a viral moment. And I'm like, but I don't want a viral moment that sacrifices the quality and integrity of my show. Yeah. And it's just like, I think that's the part that is like frustrating, because you're just like, this is all right here. 100%. Like, this is a wealth of freaking knowledge
that we're giving y'all for the free, just because we want to pick people's brains and not gatekeep and be transparent.
Right. And so like, I understand that frustration so much. Yeah. Because it's just like, how do you like break through that extra layer and like finding that balance of things?
The biggest piece of game that we got was from Wallow, and Wallow told us was consistency. And the thing, just keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. People don't see it, keep doing it. Somebody's gonna see it at some point. Yep. I think for us, it's just also finding the balance in our personal lives to make, specifically the podcast, to make the podcast happen. Yeah. But I told you, for me personally, come January, I've already started my own content calendar to get myself my own content, talking about the stuff that I've done, talking about just life, being more transparent about, what I'm going through. I think that'll be, a nice place for people to engage, and then also just build my own brand and show people that I know what the fuck I'm doing for me.
And I think that's going to be so important in this time, especially like more honest storytelling from Black men. Yeah. I think men need it so much more. Because especially like in this time now, you realize with the election and with the content that young men have even been like flocking to. Like, you think around like the Andrew Tates of the world, the Jake Pauls of the world, all of these like content creators who really are able to like build off of men's insecurity or men's anger that they have with the world. And I'm just like, I don't know if there's enough of, and I actually think there's a lot of us, but the algorithm does not promote us.
It's not meant to.
It's not, it's not meant
Literally not meant to.
Because that's not engaging. Our work is required to be a reflection, and not a projection. See what I did there? But I just realized like so many young men who are like, oh, I need to have a Bugatti, I need to have this. for older men, I need to be a high value man. I need to do this. Blah, blah,
Yo,
blah, right?
if I hear another conversation about being a high value man, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to lose my mind.
Get him out of here.
Oh my God, sorry.
No, you're good.
It's a trigger word for me.
What's a high value man?
We don't gotta talk about it. We don't gotta talk about it. How would you even bring that up?
As a high value man, I feel like I should have a high value woman. Like I should be the person who's the catch for real. I'm gonna turn this into one of those podcasts real quick. Yeah, just because like I feel like I'm 6'8". I got a 6-figure job.
Oh my God!
I still got facial hair and hair on my head. So that means I'm probably really like I deserve. No, I ain't even want to get into it. I ain't got time for that. You know what I'm saying?
Because that's exactly what they be doing.
Not standing. I be on my face like, are y'all serious? Like, okay, you have a hairline. What does that mean? Can you raise a child? Bro? Like, can you read? Actually, let's ask the real questions. Are you literate?
Depends on America, you know.
Oh my God.
Lord Jesus. No, it's okay. But I think it's the reality.
I thought he was so triggering.
You were? I said, I'm glad you got that out of there.
I feel so much better.
Oh shit.
Oh man.
But I say that all to say is like I think like there's going to be like a significant shift that begins to happen with content creators who are much more honest around where we're at.
Yeah.
Lee, now you gave me hiccups because I laughed so hard. But I think there's so many people who just don't know, and I'm such a big proponent of like men have to bear witness to other men being vulnerable in order to have permission to simply be.
Yeah.
And I think like as I continue to realize that so many of them are so lost because there's not a honest
oh yeah, I got you. My bad.
Yeah, ain't you a podcaster?
Right.
But so many of us don't know how to navigate emotion. Some of us don't even know how to model it. And
we don't even admit that we have emotions. Like talk about navigation. I'm just talking. I'm saying this off of my own personal experience.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to talk for everybody. Because I had a tough time. Like just because numbing was the way that I was taught to deal with my emotions as a man. Mm-hmm. Hey, that's bothering you. No, it ain't bothering you. You better act. Don't show that. You know what I'm saying? But that's just you grow up in that environment that when you are feeling something, the first time, the inkling that I feel something, I'm like, I ain't feel nothing. We still having a conversation, right? You know what I'm saying? Instead of addressing I'm actually upset. I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm confused. You know, I'm a little embarrassed. And here's why. And being okay with that. Yeah. That's before you can even get to navigating. Acknowledge the fact that you feel something too. So, yeah. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, you don't got it. Don't apologize.
Do you know? Oh no. All right. So for me personally, I know exactly what you're talking about, and it happened for me with my wife arguing with her, and like me saying like I couldn't explain how I felt, but I know I felt some type of way. You know what I mean? So for you, did you know when that moment happened when you're like, I'm just a really bad communicator of just
I'm first of all, I'm gonna say this, like we sometimes I don't know, is your wife black? Before I say this comment? No? Okay. Anyway, we are not worthy of women sometimes just because of the patience that they have for us in certain standpoints. I'm going to say it specifically for me. I am not worthy of my black woman sometimes because the patience that she has for me is sometimes out of this world. But that was the first time I realized that I was a poor communicator.
Do you remember the conversation that you're having? Or?
Not the specific conversation, but I can remember the emotion. I was upset, and then 2, I was embarrassed because I reacted to her in a way that I knew I told myself I wasn't going to treat her or react in a way. Like she said something, and I was like, "Oh, I should have knew that," and I was just like, "I'm. What you mean? I'm cool." And now that's why your feet stink. And it was like, bro, what's wrong with you? Like, you know, once I cooled down and cooler heads prevailed, I was like, I'm so sorry. Like I didn't even acknowledge that I felt some type of way. And she was like, you're acting weird. Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? But my wife sees through me like I'm glass. So she knows me so well. So like in those moments, like I have to definitely say like, if it's not for her, and I don't want to like I the reason why I say is like I hate having to put so much weight on her for like helping me, but like she's had the patience. She very much helped me put in the work to like understand like, hey, you're having an emotion. Let's acknowledge it. navigate through it.
Yeah.
Let's keep the conversation going. Because
Awesome.
I wasn't getting that anywhere else. Even in therapy, it was kind of just like, you're telling me what's up, but how do I put this into practice?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Wow.
yeah, I got to give her a lot of credit. And she's also the reason why I'm here tonight. So, like, give her a lot of credit.
Kudos.
Yeah.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, for real.
Oh man, yeah, dog. Like there's so much, and I appreciate like the level of vulnerability that you were able to like exhibit and demonstrate in this episode. Honestly, because I know it's not always easy to like be able to like just put yourself out there.
Yeah,
and just like. And it's cool because I feel like we kind of got to like understand different glimpses of who Josh was as a kid.
Man, we live here.
Look, and don't worry because I was like, oh, this is the first of many.
Oh, okay. I was like, I was like, we've had conversations too. I was like, there's times in college when I was older like I feel like I moved around a lot as a kid, so I feel like I adapted a lot of different personalities. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I've always had to like reinvent myself.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I finally feel like, oh, this is me.
Yeah.
Like this is the person who like this is the core person, and those other people were survival. Like I had to survive to be those people. Wow. You know what I'm saying? But this is actually me.
Well,
yeah.
Let's end on that.
Okay.
Who is Josh now?
Yeah. Wow. I'm about to. Who is Josh now? Yeah. Josh is very honest with himself. Josh is scared because he's raising a child and he's never done that before. Josh is also scared because he's loving a woman who has mad patience for him, that he's like, I got to make sure that I'm constantly showing up for her and being accountable for her and protecting my family unit, whether it's from her family, my family, outside sources, you know, making sure that she has her own peace. And I'm also trying to be a better son and a better brother. So I'm just in a world of confusion because I'm really unpacking who I am for the first time. Wow. So yeah, nothing about me is stable. Keep it a stack. Nothing about me is stable, and I don't have a problem admitting that anymore. So yeah, that's who Josh is now.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah,
I see you. I appreciate you. I value you.
Thank you.
Like, you're really my guy.
Man, not same to you, man. Like first, I got to say this because he about to talk all this great stuff about me, and I got to put it back on him. Marquise is like the perfect person to have conversations with, just because he acknowledges your feelings. He lets you know that you are heard. He also shares his sentiments as well as really helps you get to the bottom of your stuff. But also at the same time, he is also vulnerable in his own right. He does a lot of talking, a lot of communicating, a lot of networking because he's a networking master. If you don't know Marquise, you should probably get to know Marquise because he's a great person. I'm just putting that out there. This is now the Keep It a Bean podcast. I'm your host, Joshua. No, but for real, like you got to give yourself your own accolades because you're creating a space around you that people can thrive in, and you're inviting people into that space. So just remember that. Just keep doing what is very much needed. I mean, I've told you this since I've known you. I'm like, you do a fantastic job at what you do. Don't stop doing it. You encourage other people and you empower other people to be themselves, which is all you need to do.
Thank you.
Yeah. No problem, man. No problem,
I've
man.
been emotional.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you so much.
Not a problem, man. Not a problem at all.
Truly, like that means a lot. Thank you. I don't know why that hit me different. Anyway. Yeah, dog. No, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing. And you're always welcome back anytime. Honestly,
man,
truly,
y'all about to be tired of me. I'm about to be in the studio audience. Like,
yeah.
So about that question you had earlier,
another one.
Let's unpack that.
Quite literally, it's like I love like this is my favorite kind of environment
this
because
is dope.
Like they get to like interact and talk and whatever pops up and wherever the conversation goes, it's wonderful. So before we finish up and everything, just let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah. You good? All right. Y'all can find me. Damn, where can they find me? All right, yeah, sorry. I'm trying to think about what I'm about to do. Yeah, my Instagram is at Meekz, MEEKZ2. I mainly live on there. I deleted my Twitter like 2 days ago. But like, I don't really be tweeting for real. Like Twitter is my place. Like it's locked. I have like 4 followers. I just be tweeting to the space about my emotions and feelings. So like there's that. But I'm on Blueski. I just joined Blueski. I don't even know what my handle is on there. Probably Meekz too. But yeah, actually, and if for the podcast, Disruptors in the Culture, follow us, Disruptors ITC. I'm one half of Disruptors in the Culture. The other half is Amira Smith, who is fantastic. So we're both really creative, but I promise y'all, and I'm saying this to hold myself accountable, and I know Marquise will hold me accountable, I am going to be putting out a lot more content come January. So if you really do like what you see from me, I'm always open to connect. So like DM me ideas. If you also want to talk about what you heard in this episode, I'm open to it all. You know, I'm even getting a little bit of tech. So if you know any software engineers and or designers, talk to me. I'm looking for some assistance, some experience. So
come on now. Let's go.
Talking about it.
Please make sure that you follow this fucking legend in the making, my guy, my good brother, my friend, this awesome creator, one that I admire. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I will leave everything in the description box below. Thank you for coming back to another episode of Keeping It a Bean. On that note, peace.
And keep coming back.
Okay, keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
Let's go. We did that.
All right.
Yeah, we did.
That's a good episode.
That was solid.
Let's go.
That was super solid. See.
Cool? You all right?
You stay still, Sandbag.
Yeah, don't fuck up, bro.
I just want to.
Why is that?
I don't know.
That's the broken one, I think.
Oh, it's broken?
Listen, I can put my finger here.
No.
Oh.
Oh, it's the same.
Do we need another weight on the other end?
Nah, you should be cool.
Oh,
That's it.
what the fuck?
Listen, metal be temperamental, bro.
Yeah.
I'ma just you'll be all right. I'ma just be cool.
Cooling?
Yeah. No, I am comfortable. I'm just. Listen. When it comes to like, I just rather just
Okay, look.
make it work.
All right, we out here.
Yeah, we out here.
I think it's enough.
We're in the streets.
All
The standard's like, God damn.
right. I'm gonna just keep that in. It's fine.
Yeah,
All righty. 3, 2.